taking Storm Surge damage, and sure enough, Evie goes down to it, so Enqua's left here, left to do it, but not looking too good. If we take a look at the map, no players really around him, and actually a fight just north of him going down in the storm, developing just outside at Daily Bugle there, but that looks like that is quickly ending as the players subside. They really say Storm Surge is no longer going on. We're just going to go ahead and make our rotation now.
I was going to say, the worst part about this, we watched NQ's dump his last bullet on that player in the air. A little bit more, and he had launch padding players there to go in and get the tag. So, you know, it is what it is. At this point, he's got 29 HP and a true sliver of a dream left to stay in this game and figure it out. Clixton Day has the pressure of the storm and the players coming in here. Look at this congestion here just outside the sanctuary. This is an awkward, and I mean awkward zone, guys. I like to call this the nightmare type of zone. This is what dreams or nightmares are fueled on here. Not a dream at all, but this is the fuel for those bad dreams, guys. All that water means that you have limited land space to work with. Just look at how empty the water locations are, forcing all the players into these little masses and pockets. And that's why, you know, when Clix comes in late here, you know, onwood builds, it's just red flag after red flag.
Yeah, near impossible situation here for this duo. Even considering their next steps, if they were to live through this, that north rotation would be really hard. But Clix, we know that he's got the mechanical prowess. He is actually surviving the best he can. He will live until he is out of math. I can almost guarantee you that. But he's only got 16 builds left. So his time here in the lobby might be short-lived. And yeah, he tries to make an edit out to remove his box. But Shadow there, waiting just for that move. And look at this, Macwood and Donnie. Like I said, you know, they make it off spawn. They don't even have any elims, but they do find the Storm Surge to survive that first thresholds. So looking good for those boys.
Yeah, it's doing a lot better than we can say most other players are in the lobby, as that was just one of the craziest elim chains we've seen in quite some time. Big battle after battle. I mean, again, this is what happens, right? When you have these many players alive, you know, it's going to force engagement. And, you know, even if you're comfortable, unfortunately, what's going to happen is teams are going to see these battles going down. They're going to want to get inside. They want to get involved into these fights. This replay here is just, again, a little recap of some of the other perspectives that went down to the Storm Surge, or what forced these Storm Surge fights, if you will. It's a full package on just that right there.
And here we go, Gleason, Chucky. This is actually the fight that was going on right outside of Bugle. And it looks like Chucky just ended up getting surprised with some MK7 shots right into his back. Unfortunate for him, but again, you know, this congestion is real, right? If we look at the map, there's only a little bit of land mass. A lot of it is water. And these players know that if you base up in the water, you're pretty much just asking yourself to get a lobby spray in at you. So a lot of them like to just pile up on each other, try to not single themselves out, leave themselves in a good position, is kind of just pray for this half zone here, right? Because if you don't get it, not only do you have to run at a congested area, then you also have to run alongside the congested area that is also trying to rotate. So not an ideal situation if you don't pull this half zone here. We'll see what happens here in 15 seconds.
My favorite team in this position, though, is definitely Muzz and Avery right now, who are, although below the surge, they have, I would say, that the best spot. They're kind of like in the least congested locations, because it's all filled and littered with players, but they're kind of vibing out right here. The fact that they can take these shots and kind of determine the pace of this battle without other players looking to focus them is just, again, a master course in positioning here. On the other side, though, Boxer in a box fight as well. So there's all kinds of fights going on right now. We have a player that is just above the surge, and you have like Muzz and Avery who are way below here. They're gonna have to continue to get active. So going for the heals right now is the best play that they can do to go ahead and just reset themselves here, buy themselves some time. But it's going to come down to clashing against another duo here. Now 6 below for Muzz and Avery. What's the play? Can they go ahead and force this one out? They're trying to get their rotate going here.
Oh, he was trying to build out there, bait some shots from somebody, maybe even the whole lobby, so that he can find an angle. But he actually finds a quick edit. Unsuspecting duo takes a lot of damage. That's going to put them above that Storm Surge threshold, but Storm Surge still did a lot of damage to them. Let's see how they can recover as they try to make this rotate that I talked about being so difficult over to the half zone.
And the one problem there, this is the elim that we saw go down, though, the one that was sniped from the team up above. Unfortunately, no heals there, so they do get first dibs on the builds, but without any HP, without any heals to work off of, that's going to be pretty tough here. 26 duos now remaining in the lobby, guys. The sweet spot is breaking into top 25. You can see how much of a stretch it is in the game to make it this far. You have to get all the way essentially to just about that first full moving zone before the big placements start to come out here. And again, we are looking for who is in a position to take home this victory royale. Any of these solo players you're watching right now, their odds at winning this first game is very, very slim. These teams that you're seeing with big builds, ammunition, HP, those are the teams we are really excited for right now. Those might be the ones that punch through and find their lucky stars aligning here today to get that first qualification spot to the finals.
Yeah, and looks like our first moving zone is going to go up to the north. It's going to be fully covered inland, so water won't be a factor, at least for this one. Some of the teams are actually south of the river, so they'll have to figure that little bit of a rotation out, but shouldn't be too big of a problem. And I think our next big wave of aggression is going to come in when we find that storm surge that ticks during the moving zones. A lot of these players have plenty of mats to kind of deal with this first moving zone so far, and Macwood is actually in a really good position because, as you can see, he's on the north side of the zone, and since the moving zone also pulled north, all these southern teams have to pretty much just run right at him, so they're taking the opportunity here to find some more storm surge, but already still they have 400 damage above, so they are chilling, and they both probably have the web shooters here, so they can kind of just wait behind and let all the teams in front of them build, so that way they actually have something to web shooter to. And looks like that's what they're going to do as they pull those web shooters out. And funny enough, Polarize and Nico, the team that's contesting them over at the Daily Bugle, is on the high ground. Yeah,
I was going to say that it's like the kryptonite of them is right in their face here. This is the team that has been giving them the most problem, the most trouble here. Nico and Polarize hold up. Little trouble in paradise. Rise and Agers go for their high ground retake right there. If you blink, you missed it. They just sniped up that height with the chili chug splash there, and that's the benefit of having that speed boost there, that extra little bit of haste. It will give you the mobility you need to go ahead and make that surprise play. So now, Rise and Agers in the prime position for the victory royale here, guys. Remember, we are looking for who is going to take home that first win, punch their way out of this week's semis, and straight into the finals now, Vivid.
Yes, sir, and OMG me here getting a shout from the man himself, Sundown, proving that he was actually deserving of it. He's going to be in a really good position here, 600 above, no worries on the storm surge here, and he was actually in front of the pack there, but it looks like they're running a little low on build, so they might be looking at the back for a refresh now, and TJ and Agers are actually finding themselves way up here on the high ground as it keeps pulling up. Mac would go for the box, though. Full piece. If he gets the cone over the ramp, he's going to get free elim here, but he's a little bit of a miscommunication, and the player actually gets out. So Macwood and Donnie there probably got to clean up a little bit of their communication, but nonetheless still in a good position on the low ground. And Rise and Agers just up here chilling, laid back, waiting for the victory royale to slide in.
And I was going to say, not only that, they could have asked for a better zone, right? This is like going up the steep portion of this like cliff, the volcano here, this segment. That's going to force players to lose builds, clash into one another, make it easier. OMG, though, still in the game, still fighting here in the final moments. That's going to bring them up to 5 eliminations. Now, the win, not looking likely for them, but these elims, my gosh, they are racking up big points right now and placement along with it. We have a little bit of everything going down right now. Donnie down, or sorry, Macwood down the field. Donnie's actually by himself. On height though, Peterbot swings on up, and it looks like he is in a battle up against Agers and company up above there for Rise, who's giving him a run for his money. Now, in the meantime, OMG still battling this one out. Rise and Agers actually have to give this one up. The high ground, the wing condition, Vivid, they gave it away to Quanti and Peterbot now.
Peterbot and Twanti, let's go. We talked about, Quanti actually goes down. We've seen so many changes in the high ground over in EU, and that was surprising because we hardly saw any in NA East during those qualifiers 1 and 2, but coming into the semifinals, these teams won it more than ever.
Yeah, definitely now. Peterbot swinging around here. He's got to be very, very careful. Donnie somehow manages to swing his way around. Peter's into the box. He gets a couple tags. Another player goes flying up. Peter has to look up here. Be very, very cautious. Look at how many players are swinging all around. It's Donnie once again. Round 2 here. Peterbot down to 13 HP. Armor wall comes out. Great protection. Now comes a quick reset here. Get some health going. But these are wood builds. He is not safe. Down comes the crashing builds, and it doesn't matter though. He's gonna go and catch himself. The breaks though from the zip line, and down he goes. Agers with a ridiculous play right there to keep him in the game here. 3 eliminations. He may have given up the height, but he has fought his way tooth and nail all the way back, clawing into this game. This is like a bird with clipped wings here, but he is still trying to fly in these final moments. No HP down low here. Agers has the win in front of him. It's a 1v1 situation now. Has the builds, couple of mats here. Vivid, it's all or nothing here. Here comes the full reset. Agers versus Shadow.
Yeah, pretty much even here, right? But I think the detrimental thing here for Agers is that he's only got 7 builds left. We know that Shadow just actually found an elimination, so he's going to be getting those mats from that elimination. So I think he's got the edge here. And as you can see, he is taking full advantage of it, building full boxes. But Agers taking full advantage of the fact that he's got double Stinger SMGs trying to apply pressure and break down those mats that Shadow has. Agers is actually going to opt to break right through this building right here.
Yeah, definitely. These are very, very important builds, guys. He's going to look to get as much material as possible. It's going to be the difference maker here. Behind the wall, though, the piece control comes through. He steps into the zone. It's all or nothing to full commit. Double SMG doesn't have to reload, and the shots are good. Shadow manages to win in the last and final moment and goes straight to finals.
There you have it. And I was talking about how the mats were going to come into play there. Shadow played that perfectly. Used every single last bit of his mats to make sure that he had as much space as he needed. And finally, Agers is actually going to run out of mats. Eventually, Shadow just makes a play with the Stinger SMG to break Agers out. And it looked like Agers was a little confused, got a little fumbled, came down to an aim duel, and Shadow was just all over it.
Not only that, Shadow, the young blood on the scene. OMG, me too. And Shadow will be your first ones to punch their ticket to the finals here. No more games are needed for them. The semis is there, and now the final stage is in front of them for them to conquer. What a game we just watched unfold, Vivid. We have 4 more of these.
Yo, imagine chilling, right? You're watching your duo, an endgame situation, and he clutches up your position in the grand finals. Well played, Shadow. That was awesome to watch.
We love seeing it here. We're going to toss it to the Desto. Guys, hook us up, man. What are your first thoughts of the first game here at the semis?
Well, first thoughts are we couldn't have had a better start to proceedings. I mean, there we were following the Peterbot Agers, like back and forth on the high ground, thinking that was in a way the way things would be determined in this endgame. But suddenly, Me Too and Shadow with 10 eliminations as well, and the entire time between us behind the scenes as well, Sundown is championing Me Too like nobody's business. So we'll get onto that. But SBG, what a great first game. It had everything we wanted, and Storm Surge as well was just affecting everyone in right out the gate.
My goodness, yeah, off the start, that end game went crazy, but early on, this was one of the most stacked games we've seen in a very long time. Everyone running into Storm Surge, having to take fights that they don't want to take, and this is because everyone's finding their own place within the map. They don't want to be contested off spawn, but things may change. We're going to start dropping the players. We got 2 less going into that next game, and these players, Sundown, they got to figure it out earlier because this simply ain't it.
Well, the last time we saw this, and this is something that's very typical for both NA East and NA West when you have that Victory Royale move on win condition there, is everybody tunnels so much on that they want to keep their feet up. They don't worry about consistency. They don't worry about sticking to the regular Storm Surge strats or fighting teams. And then all of a sudden you end up in this situation where there's an extra 10, 15, and in that case, like even closing in on 20 people on the map who normally wouldn't be there. And all of a sudden things just turn weird.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, that's the thing as well, is like, I guess all the players as well getting used to this format. Obviously, it's game 1. And, you know, with so many, it's a stacked lobby as well. There's a lot of big teams, big players out there as well. Storm Surge, they'll gradually get used to it, but it has played a big part thus far. But we must talk about the end game as well, which was absolutely mad. It was crazy. I think Quanti going down with Peterbot there was a big difference maker as well. But taking it from Ages, we thought that was it. That this could be the play. That Ages is going to go all the way. It's a 1v1 here, but limited on mats and couldn't make it happen right at the end there, SPG.
Dude, I thought these guys had it. They were on high ground, and then one contest comes, the next contest comes, and everyone wants the high ground place. I mean, Rise and Agers did their best here, but ultimately it was Shadow and OMG Me Too just like popping off on the low ground. I mean, we saw some awesome plays here for height, but at the end of the day, it came down to that last 1v1, and I think Vivid pointed it out perfectly. There was 5 solos up at the last moment, and they all figured it out.
Yeah, it didn't look like we were actually playing the duo FNCS there for a second. It was down to those solo clutches, but sometimes it's all about the work your teammates are able to put in, and Agers put in a ton of work here. The zipline play was just gross, being able to use it not only to knock down his opponent, but then out-strafe him side to side. Talk about Enas, he put it down and just made everybody miss. But then in this circumstance, you talk about doing all the right things. Shadow not only had the box control, he passed more efficiently, knowing he would have cover and